Number 6.
Seattle, back-to-back-to-back drafts that I like. They are going to rely on that run game. They upgraded their offensive line. Their defense will be in the second year under Mike McDonald. The early schedule is pretty easy for Sam Darnold, who I do believe is a better version of Geno Smith. He's a better athlete, can be a bit reckless, but he's a West Coast kid. I think he's comfortable. I think they upgraded offensive coordinator. So I just think this is a team, if Jackson Smith and Jigba can become a number one wide receiver, I like their backs. I like their O-line. I like their secondary. There's not a lot about Seattle I don't like. And if Stafford, by the way, did not play much this year, I already have them winning the division. That could be 2 wins.
Yeah. There's a lot to love here with Seattle. And I'd been talking about this before with Sam Darnold and Clint Kubiak and what Clint Kubiak can bring this offense. And when you look at how successful the Seahawks were, despite having enough there and dealing with injuries, you now bring in a quarterback who I think will be better than Geno Smith, an offensive coordinator who I think will be better, and will be better with Sam Darnold even than when he was with a Derek Carr. And this defense will continue to be better. All it does is have to just be healthy relative to what they were last year. They can't win one more game than they did last year. Come on. Of course they can. So this is the first 5 weeks of the Saints with Derek Carr and Clint Kubiak. People don't realize, and not to mention, by week 3, they started to get real injuries. Like they were getting legitimately banged up. But especially those first few weeks, those first couple weeks, were all on fire. Derek Carr was absolutely playing out of his mind. 90 for 128. He had 70.3 completion percentage. 989 yards. So he had less passing yards, but they were still lighting everyone up. He had 8 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 7.7 yards per attempt. He had a PFF offensive rating of 88. A PFF passing rating of 87.8. That's on a scale of 0 to 100. Don't get that confused with actual passer rating. I mean, look at his adjusted completion percentage when factoring in drops. 79%. I mean, he was just playing out of his mind. And a passer rating of 100. And that was now already, like I said, with injuries. Especially in those final, really from weeks 3, 4, and 5. And so if we just even look at those first 2 weeks, I mean, he was lighting it up. In those first 2 weeks, 7 touchdowns. 7 touchdowns. So to me, this is what this also shows me. And make no mistake about it, nobody was acting like the Saints had this stacked roster. But what they were able to do with Derek Carr and Clint Kubiak, they were able to get after weaker defenses. 49ers are going to be interesting. They had an incredibly weak defense. You imagine their defense is going to take a step forward, but do they have the bodies right now? I believe that they have the defensive coach, but do they have the bodies? The Steelers definitely will be a really, really good defense, especially this early on in the season when they're going to be fully healthy and not that wear and tear. Then you get to the Saints. Probably not. The Cardinals are interesting. Again, not so sure they necessarily have the bodies quite yet. Buccaneers, they'll be a very, very well-coached defense as they've been. But then you go against the Jaguars. It's interesting. Probably not so much. You have the Texans. I think should still be a pretty high-quality defense there. The Commanders, they should, by all accounts, improve from what they were last year, but nowhere close to what Dan Quinn will want to look like defensively, right? And then again, you're back with the Cardinals, the Rams, then you're on to the Titans. The Vikings will be a really high quality defense. The Falcons, they went all in on the defense last year. This offseason. Will that pay off? Will that swing pay off? It's just really a wait and see. Colts defense hardly scaring me by any stretch of the imagination. And same thing with the Panthers. And then again, of course, you have the 49ers. So there are clearly a nice little mix of some high quality defenses and some probably average defenses and some downrank, not so good defenses. And I just think that at the bare minimum, the reason why I'm trying to highlight this, because at the bare minimum, the Seattle Seahawks will remind me of a team like the Dallas Cowboys had been, I forget the exact years, but probably like 22, 23, with Mike McCarthy and whatnot, when they would just absolutely just dominate, just run the score up against teams that were just clearly not good, and especially weak defenses. Now, they couldn't do that against the good teams, but against the bad teams, it was like, no ifs, ands, or buts, they got this. And so what I'm saying is, what I'm trying to argue here is that at a minimum, the Seattle Seahawks will have that in the bag with Clint Kubiak and Sam Darnold. That they will be able to take care of that. That if you're going up against a defense that ends up just not quite having the bodies or not quite having the coach or coordinator, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's like you're hanging you're hanging points on them. Go back and see. I really would encourage you, if you want to get pumped about what this Seattle Seahawks offense can look like, I'm telling you, watch those first few games. Just do the highlights. They're on YouTube, of Derek Carr and the Saints against, I believe it was the Panthers and the Dallas Cowboys. Those for, week 1 and 2. Just go watch it. And you'll see that it's not like a fluke. Like, that's also what I really want to encourage you. That you can see that it was just brilliant play calling and brilliant execution. It wasn't just like, oh, well, of course they got the score run up because of blah, blah, blah. Like, no, like it was high quality, high powered offense. And then unfortunately they just got decimated with injuries. Derek Carr was wasn't even starting, I think, by like week 6. I think then you brought in Spencer Radler. So then things obviously just unraveled there. And their O-line, like it was, a lot of paper cuts for them. So I'm telling you, I promise you, you're not going to be upset. You're going to be like, why is this guy telling me to watch Saints games right now? Just watch those highlights. Some of those plays, the distribution of the ball, the balance of offense, the big play offense. You were watching that and you were just like, oh my gosh, this is on. Like, it was just so exciting. That is genuinely what I believe the Seattle Seahawks could bring. And like I said, at the bare minimum, against the weaker defenses. Bare minimum. And so it's always hard to know exactly where you're going to fall on a defensive spectrum season to season to season. And so it's like, it's not the easiest to predict, especially because a lot of the teams that kind of had rougher defenses were either, hired new coaches, or they had their own list of injuries, or, it was like a Dan Quinn situation. Like the Commanders defense was hardly anything to really fear, but I think Dan Quinn is a great defensive coach, but it was just year 1 with the Commanders and they had to make a ton of changes. I don't expect him to fix that defense overnight. And so it's hard for me to gauge in year 2 what will that defense necessarily look like. So I can't go, too hard with some of the predictions in terms of the quality of defenses, but I do remain firm that a defense that is just not quite up to the task, a team like the Seattle Seahawks will absolutely crush offensively. Absolutely crush. Now, can their defense, can the opposing team's offense keep up? I don't think so, because I think the Seattle Seahawks defense should be great. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you will come away with wins, which is exactly what the Dallas Cowboys did. The difference was with the Cowboys was that they could not contend with the better teams. So, and since this is only year 1 right now with Sam Darnold, Clint Kubiak and co, and year 2 with McDonald, like, you have to wait to see how some of these more nuanced aspects of a game look like, right? When you're going into the fourth quarter and you're down by 3, you're up by 8 or something, right? Like, how do you close this game out? We don't have those answers yet. So, and that's what it comes down to when you're playing the good teams, right? It's really like, how are you executing? What's the play calling? Are you making the mistake? Are you taking care of the ball? Did you throw an interception in the fourth quarter, right? Like, what's the story here? Did you take a bad sack and now you're out of field goal range, which would then put you up by 10, and now it's a deep field goal? Now you miss it. Now you have to punt. Now it's only a 1-score. Like it's all those little things that really ultimately come down to when you're playing the better teams. But yeah, man, I just feel that this offense could be really, really opportunistic. So I'm excited to see what this looks like. Early on they definitely have some tougher defenses. So I don't know if we'll really be able to really just see how potent it is, but if they look smooth and assertive against a team like the Steelers by week 2, it's like I don't even care if they end up losing that. I don't care even if like Aaron Rodgers lights the Seahawks up. He just like goes back to vintage MVP Aaron. It's like I won't even care. I'll be like, Seahawks, book it right now. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Seattle Seahawks being 6th on Colin's herd hierarchy? And how great do you believe that this team can be? Do you think I'm overstating the Clint Kubiak, Sam Darnold duo, and bringing in, of course, Cooper Kupp? But let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.